Hey guys! What's up? Alpha Lion Simba here, and welcome to part 16 of sentencing Disney villains for their crimes. As always, I am your judge, jury, and executioner. So, let us welcome our bailiff, prosecution lawyer, and counselor, Jiminy Cricket.
Thank you, Alpha. Like always, I'm here to help you.
Thanks, Jiminy. So, tonight we will be sentencing the villains from Wreck-It Ralph, Frozen, and Big Hero 6. So, with no further ado, court is now officially in session.
Time to game it up, because our first film in this week's docket is Wreck-It Ralph. Which means that our first villain to stand trial is King Candy, aka Turbo. Now, he invented the term going turbo, because when Road Blasters took all of his popularity, Turbo went and tried to take over the game, which can be attributed to sabotage. Right. Not to mention, in his attempts to take over Road Blasters, Turbo ended up putting both his game and Road Blasters out of order, which means that he essentially killed all of the characters in Road Blasters, which can also be attributed to murder. And he took over Sugar Rush under his new persona, and he dethroned Vanellope from her throne, which is a charge of usurpation. That, and the fact that he attacked Vanellope and her cart during the climax, which that could have easily gotten her injured or killed, slapping him a charge of child endangerment. And after he becomes a cybug, he tries to kill Ralph, which is a charge of attempted murder. So, I hereby sentence King Candy to life in prison without parole. Alright, Jiminy, bundle up, because our next movie is Frozen. And so, Your Honor, your first villain to stand trial from Frozen is the Duke of Weaseltown. Weselton! The Duke of Weselton, Your Honor.
Indeed. Alright, Jiminy, start reading me the charges.
Well, firstly, he wanted to exploit Arendelle for all of its tradable goods, and even tried to chew out Hans for dishing them out, which will get him the charge of attempted exploitation. Not to mention, his most serious charge, he sent his two bodyguards, Eric and Francis, to kill Elsa, which slaps him the charge of attempted murder. Your Honor, I object, because Elsa deliberately tried to kill me with her powers.
Overruled.
His Honor is right. Elsa would never use her powers to intentionally hurt somebody. You only slipped on her ice because you happened to be in the same area.
You are absolutely right, Jiminy. Which is why, in my opinion, I think the most fitting sentence for the Duke is 13 years in the doghouse.
And I also think that it'd be fitting to sentence him to 9 years of community service when he gets out. That way, he actually knows what tradable goods should be used for aside from trading. Judge Alpha, I object. Are you really going to listen to a little cricket?
Silence! Bruton, you know what to do.
Yes, Your Honor. All right, get moving. This is so not fair. I demand to see the Queen. Oh, it's interesting that you mention her, because I spoke to Elsa before court today, and she says that she stands firm on her decision not to do business of any sort with Weaseltown. Weaselton! It's Weaselton! Look, Weaseltown, unless you got a death wish, you'd better get moving!
Thank you, Bruton. Anyway, moving on.
Up next is Prince Hans of the Southern Isles. Now, he gets charged with kidnapping when he captures Elsa from her ice palace and locks her in the dungeon, which also slaps him the charge of wrongful imprisonment. And when he locked Anna up to make sure she dies from the frozen heart, that's his second count of wrongful imprisonment. And, most importantly, he tried to kill Elsa, which, like the Duke, is his most serious charge, attempted murder. And so therefore, I hereby sentence Hans to life behind bars without parole. Our last movie in this week's docket is Big Hero 6. This means that our last villain to stand trial for today is Professor Robert Callahan, aka Yokai. Callahan's first two charges are arson and manslaughter, given that he was the one who started the fire that ended up killing Tadashi. And he used that fire to cover up his tracks to steal Hiro's microbots. So we can get him for grand larceny. And by using the microbots in his time as yokai, Callahan caused thousands of whatever kind of currency they use in San Francisco in property damage, so we can get him for destruction of property. And he attacks Hiro and his friends many times, and at one point, they almost drowned in their car while trying to escape from him, which slaps Callahan the charge of child endangerment. And he tried to kill Alistair Cray, believing him to be responsible for Abigail's supposed death, which gets him the charge of attempted murder. With all that in mind, I hereby sentence Professor Callahan to 30 years in prison without parole.
Well, that was it. Part 16 of sentencing Disney villains for their crimes. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And I'd like to thank Jiminy for his help tonight.
Oh, it's no trouble at all. I'm always happy to help you.
And stay tuned for the grand finale. So, in the meantime, this session of court is now adjourned.